right, new chapter for you. The new Bellator chapter. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Take me through like sort of the decision process behind coming back over here. I mean, were there other things on the table, and this one won out? And if so, what was the reason behind it?
Well, it seemed to me like this was the next logical step for me to go to. It's the other biggest promotion in the U.S., and I feel like that's where I belong. And I did think about going across the sea over to some Asian promotions, but they were a little worried about Project Spearhead. And yeah, so when Bellator reached out to Gilbert, who's been advising me on my career, and said, let's make this happen, I was really happy. Kind of wondered what had taken so long. Like, I figured that I was going to get back in the cage a lot sooner than I would, so I'm super happy that it's all coming together and that it's happening. And there wasn't a thought process other than, of course I want to get back in the cage, of course I want to fight, and of course Bellator is where I want to do it.
You did, no, we talked about this a few seconds ago. You fought in Bellator like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
In one of the early Bellator shows.
Mm-hmm.
This is a completely different animal than it was back then. So, I mean, I'm sure it feels so far like it is completely different.
Well, the show is definitely different, and I'm a whole lot different. At that time, it was my second professional fight. I was being brought in to be an opponent for Carrie Vera, Brandon Vera's wife at the time. And man, I was just the happiest person ever. I think the announcer said that in the video. She's just the happiest person to get punched in the face. I remember riding on the bus with everybody to go to the venue, and I was just so excited. I was like, look at us, we're being professional fighters. I was like, anybody want a granola bar? And all these guys were like, no, we're about to fight. What are you talking about? I was like, all right, just checking. So yeah, things have changed a little bit. It's a different location, different place. Bellator is a much bigger promotion than it was at that time, and it's got a lot more talent, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Talk about leaving the other place, and was all the drum behind that blown out of proportion, or was that legit? I mean, I know you didn't take the fight, and then suddenly it's like, yeah, sorry, you're gone, and the talk, of course, is we know it's because of Project Spearhead and this and that. Was that blown out of proportion, or was that right on the money?
Well,
and I guess to follow up on that, how much of a bother and a pain in the ass kind of is that to have that drama going on when really all you probably want to do is get in there and fight?
Well, I definitely want to get in there and fight. That's totally the goal. And man, that whole thing was so frustrating. Everything about it. My opponent, you know, my opponent and the way that she was at the time, that would have been annoying anyway. And then it just opened the door to the political stuff with the UFC and I. And yeah, the way that they released me, the way that they refused to negotiate with me, the way that they refused. I mean, by the end of like us trying to talk, I was like, look, I will fight for the exact same amount of money. Just give me one more fight, please. And they were like, no, we're not going to negotiate with you. We're not even going to talk to you. And so when they said that they were going to consider that the last fight on my contract, that's total BS. And it's ridiculous to me that there's so many, I mean, I know that I'm not supposed to care about what people on the internet say. It's like the least productive thing ever is to read the comments of random people on the internet. But it is still irritating to see that people are like, oh, they fulfilled the contract because they paid her the show and win money. Well, that's not a fight. I got a contract for 4 fights, and they cut me. They didn't release me. They cut me because that was not, it wasn't fulfilled. Getting paid is not the same thing as getting a fight. And I mean, there's a lot of attention that you get when you're getting a fight. You get to build your brand. You get to establish yourself as worth more than you were before that fight. And it makes, man, it makes you really happy to get to fight when that's what you want to do. And that adrenaline shot, and whew, that's like, that was probably the worst part of it, is that I knew at the time that was probably going to be my last fight with that promotion. And I was okay with that. But then to not even get that fight, to be like, think of it as like a dinner, to be like, this is going to be my last dinner. You know, I'm going to have to get tough for this afterward, but this is going to be my last one. And then to have that last dinner taken away, like that changes everything. So no, it wasn't blown out of proportion, at least not by me. I can go off on this for a lot longer if you want to.
I think you're good, but hey, so you haven't had dinner in 2 years though.
Yeah.
Stick with that analogy. So how anxious have you been? How excited have you been this week to be able to get back in there and finally get to do this again?
Oh, I'm super excited to go back in there. It is going to be so much fun. I've been spending the past year watching my teammates go out, get ready, do their fights, and seeing the elation and the enthusiasm that they're creating in all of their friends and family and the rest of the team. And I think that that's what it really comes down to, is being able to put yourself out there for the night and then have everybody that is around you and that cares about you, they get to feel all those emotions, those wonderful, like, total involvements, like, yes, this is great. And then even when it doesn't go your way, like, at least it still brings all your friends and family out and brings up these emotions that wouldn't come out any other way. And so I've been watching everybody else do that, and I'm really excited for my chance to do that.
Talk to me about Sinead Kavanaugh and kind of what she brings to the table, and any other maybe thoughts that you might have kind of bubbling under the surface about this fight just in general?
Oh yeah, so I mean, I have respect for Sinead Kavanaugh. She's a two-sport. She's got some accomplishments in boxing, and so she's bringing those over to the MMA cage, and that's cool. I'm super excited to fight somebody who's willing to strike. I mean, I have respect. That's one thing about being over here at Bellator, is that it seems like everybody's a lot more friendly and positive and like willing to like look you in the eyes and smile or not smile, but either way they're willing to look you in the eyes. And I feel like that was a big difference from other promotions that I've been part of. And so being on this card, there's multiple women's 45-pound bouts on it. There's some other women's weights bouts on this card. There's a lot of women fighting on this card. And it's a cool thing to get to be around a lot of other women who are fighting.
Do you feel like your placement on this card is intentional because of the title fight? And is this the kind of win that if you get on Friday night, you're instantly in that title picture? Because I know the division is not necessarily that deep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't even know where I am on the card. I just know that, yeah, this is the first time in 5.5 years that I've had a clear path to getting a title fight and to getting the big money payday that is the whole point of doing the fighting journey. And so I'm excited that I can see that path. And yeah, in my mind, totally, that's what I've been led to believe, and that's what I'm going on, is that getting this win tonight is going to set me up for the title fight. And that's all I'm focused on right now, is getting this win tonight.